Asia Sound System. It's Saturday afternoon and you are tuned into RTHK Radio 3 with your host Meng de Bakker, bringing you the insights, the interviews and the original music from the regional underground music scene. This is Asia Sound System. In today's episode of Asia Sound System, we'll get to know Daniel Power, founder of South China bass music crew Unchained, and Subp Yao, a producer from the Netherlands commissioned to produce the first release for the newly minted Unchained recordings. I caught up with them in the midst of their China tour to learn more about the Unchained sound and its origins. So I'm here in the studio with Daniel Power from Unchained and with Subp Yao, a producer from the Netherlands. Welcome, you guys.
Thanks.
Hi.
I want to talk to you first, Daniel, about Unchained.
Sure.
You recently celebrated your 2-year anniversary, but can you tell us about the beginnings of your crew?
Sure. So when I first started Unchained, there was not much regular good like drum and bass events in South China, so like Shenzhen and Guangzhou. So I just wanted to start doing regular events, and push drum and bass. Actually, at the time, there was no good venue in Shenzhen, so when I first started Unchained, it was in Guangzhou. They had a cool club called Hangover. They had a nice Function 1 sound system, so started doing events there. We would get a bus. I had arranged a bus from Shenzhen, so a few of us would go. Started with like 5 people on the bus, and then after about a year, got to about 20, 30 people sometimes would come, which was pretty cool. And they was just doing that once a month in Hangover. Yeah, and then started doing the events on my own and just used good local DJs. Yeah, just the crew sort of formed together. The crew is me, Just B, Immuno, and Lyndon Jar. So those 3 are all based in Hong Kong, but so close to Shenzhen and Guangzhou. So yeah, we've had the similar vibe, and I thought they were really good DJs for drum and bass, and they're just really chill. We just got on so well. So yeah, we just kept doing the events together and then slowly became like a really good crew.
So you started off the events in Guangzhou at Hangover Club, but you soon moved to a new home in Shenzhen, right?
Yeah, so after about a year of doing events, Club Sector was opening. So basically I got offered the job to curate and run the second room. So I made that the underground room. They had a very nice sound system in there.
When it comes to promoters, producers, and DJs involved in bass music, which is the umbrella term that encompasses drum and bass, jungle, dubstep, halftime, and more, what you'll hear a lot about is the need for a good sound system for properly experiencing the music. This is partly due to the legacy of Jamaican sound system culture, in which portable systems were modified by sound engineers to put an emphasis on bass frequencies in particular, but also to generate a massive sound that would travel across town and over the treetops to attract revelers on the Caribbean island away from rival sound system parties. Bass music today continues to be designed for large sound systems in which bass frequencies penetrate the listener, often below the threshold of human hearing, as shockwaves that function as vibration as much as sound.
So basically, I moved our events to there. So we started doing regular bass music events in Sector. They had some good budgets as well, so we could start bringing some good internationals over. After about 9 months at Sector, Oil was opening, and it's just a fantastic club. And the 2 owners there, they've been supporting me and coming to the events since we started. So they asked me if we could start doing our events there. And the sound system there is incredible, and the vibe there is amazing, and they just really care about pushing the scene, So yeah, now we've moved to Oil. And just doing 1 event a month really, but trying to each month make it a very big special one,
So Subp Yao, you'll be playing in Oil at the end of the month.
Yes.
But you're only halfway through the tour now. Can you tell us a little bit about your experiences so far traveling through China?
It has been super sick so far. Yeah, first went to Shenzhen, which is like a super nice city. And then we played Dongguan, Gangster Bar, which was a really nice first show of the tour. And then we went to Hong Kong, play 15 grams, and that was like coming home for me, actually. It was like, well, that's the kind of vibe. I started DJing back home, so it was like super, super nice for me. And like, well, China and Hong Kong is just totally different from where I am. So, yeah, I really like it.
When you say it felt like coming home, what exactly do you mean?
A dark underground vibe with a good sound system and people playing like the really dark tunes. And for me, it's just clubbing how it should be. Like, not that much light, dark, smoky.
Hot.
Yeah, it was really hot.
It was so hot. I'm so glad I had a electronic fan that I brought with me. Everybody was very jealous.
1, 2, 3.
About the dark thing you just mentioned, your EP that you're releasing through Unchained Records has very harsh textures throughout. You know, is this part of your sound on a general basis?
Yeah, actually it is. My music has always been very dark and sometimes pretty aggressive. And they asked me to do an EP, and we've been talking for a while now, and they explained me what Unchained was and doing parties, and they really care about like good sound and stuff like that. So the EP is actually meant to be playing out on a good sound system. So yeah, it's really made for the club. So that's why it's probably a bit hard and heavy. Yeah.
Percentage-wise, how much are you like using samples versus kind of doing your own sound design?
Oh, there are some samples on the EP.
Mm-hmm.
There actually are, but like all the basses and the sounds that really are important, I made them myself. Or the people I work with, like Razat, he is super sick in sound design. But yeah, like the main elements are all handmade, and then obvious there are the textures and stuff like that. There are some samples and the drums as well, but then layered and processed. So yeah, I don't think anybody can recognize some samples on it. That's where I go for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was listening very carefully and I'm thinking, okay, the vocals for sure, but
yeah, like
what else? You know?
like the vocals you definitely could recognize.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's actually quite a lot of vocals on it, and you can totally recognize them. Yeah.
Let's launch straight into those dark vibes with the first track of Subp Yao's EP called BACKWIDDA.
Back with the cool back. With the cool back.
let's go back to Unchained recordings. This is the first release.
Yep.
So let me just ask this. Why did you even feel the need to start a label?
Well, since starting Unchained, I've always wanted to keep pushing and taking the next step, and got to the point where I feel I had a really good crew and we're doing good events, and it just felt like that's the next step, the natural progression. Yeah, it just felt that's right now, because also we really want to push the education side and get more local people into this music. And I think having the label also, that can really help, can be more attractive to some people.
How developed would you say the scene is in China so far? Like, is it more developed in South China, where you guys have been active? And, what do you see in the rest of the country?
Yeah, that's a good question. We've played in a lot of cities around China now. I feel for the music we focus on, it's definitely been more developed in Beijing and Shanghai. But a lot of the other cities, it's very new and fresh. But what's happened is there's been this huge hip-hop trap explosion. And actually, there's some real underground trap. It's basically halftime. So there's a lot of kids now around China that are kind of being exposed to this music. So I think moving from trap to halftime, it's not that difficult for them. And then from halftime to drum and bass, it's not difficult also.
The genres Daniel is talking about here are different, yet they share certain similarities which allow new listeners, as he explained, to make the jump from one to the next with relative ease. Trap music, a hip-hop genre that has surged in popularity in America in recent years and sparked a Chinese hip-hop renaissance in the mainland, has a tempo of about 80 to 85 BPM or beats per minute, which is the same as halftime drum and bass. Halftime drum and bass is exactly that, a derivative of the British genre that spreads the breakbeat of drum and bass over 2 bars rather than 1. So, as Daniel explained, moving from 85 BPM trap, for example, to 85 BPM halftime, and then doubling up to 170 drum and bass, while curious at first, is in fact not that much of a leap.
So I think there's a lot of potential here. If we can really have the quality high and have everything together and push the education more, I think there'll be a lot more cities that can get into this.
Yeah, I mean, my own experiences at your nights in Oil, the audience is very receptive to what's going on. So it's super encouraging. Coming up now is the next halftime gem from Subp Yao's EP, titled Money. How did you guys meet?
Online.
Yeah.
They just sent a message.
Way.
Yeah, it was on Facebook. They just sent a message and
So it was actually Lyndon Jar who connected with Subp Yao originally. He'd been a fan of his music for a while. And just connected with him and they started chatting.
yeah, and we've been in touch for a while now.
Yeah, quite a while, yeah.
Yeah, and they asked to do an EP. I was like, yeah, why not? Because they, like I said, they're really into good music, and I've been blown away by the sets and how they DJ in the last 2 gigs. So I'm really looking forward to the next shows. But yeah, they really into the good music, what I think is good music. So that was cool from the start right there. And then we talked about the music in China and all the differences. So we started from there, and actually the whole EP is based on those conversations and those chats about what those guys want to push and what my sound is, and it really is like a combination. Yeah.
So from the first contact until now this tour, how much time was in between?
I think it's a little bit more than a year.
Yeah.
And here comes Rockers by Subp Yao with Razat, the 3rd track on Unchained Recordings' debut release.
Control it. Control it.
And to tie things up is Louder with Rachel Green by Subp Yao, the final track on his BACKWITDA EP. What can we expect coming forth? You know, are you going to be working with some producers in the region, some Asian producers?
Yeah, so, well, at the start, we've got quite a few good internationals working on, but the idea and the plan is that more local producers will get involved. We like the idea of actually maybe getting some of the DJs we bring to Oil to start doing some masterclasses, and just hopefully as the label, the name gets known more, we'll get more these cool local producers that just been at home really can start sending in demos. Yeah. It would be nice in the future if it was maybe 50% like well-known internationals and 50% like locals. That would be great.
Well, there must be a load of talent over here.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
I know some Chinese producers are really, really sick. So
Yeah.
I think it's really easy to accomplish 50%.
Yeah, we've got a few local people already working on stuff. So,
Wow, already in the pipeline.
yeah.
Nice.
Oh, exclusive.
Asia Sound System.
This has been an interview with Daniel Power of Unchained and Dutch producer Subp Yao. If you'd like to find them on Instagram, their handles are unchained.asia and Subp Yao, spelled SUBPYAOOO. My name is Meng, and this has been Asia Sound System.